Every morning, my alarm clock blares at 6:30, pulling me out of restless dreams. I shuffle through my apartment, pull on my coat, and head out into the biting cold for my 40-minute walk to work. Routine is comfort, they say. But for me, it has become a nightmare I can't escape. The first time I noticed him, I thought it was a coincidence. I was halfway down the block when I felt the weight of someone's gaze. Glancing back, I saw him, tall, clad in black, and wearing a featureless white mask. My heart jumped, but I told myself he was probably a commuter, just like me. I quickened my pace, hoping to leave him behind. But every turn I took, every shortcut I tried, he was there. Always at a distance, always silent. I quickened my pace, hoping to leave him behind. But every turn I took, every shortcut I tried, he was there. Always at a distance, always silent. By the time I reached my office that day, my nerves were frayed. I glanced out the window throughout the day, searching for him in the sea of faces below. I didn't see him. For a moment, I almost convinced myself I'd imagined the whole thing. Almost. The next morning, he was there again. Standing at the end of my street, head tilted slightly as if watching me. My hands trembled as I locked my door. I didn't want to give him the satisfaction of knowing he'd rattled me, so I pretended not to see him. But I couldn't shake the feeling of his eyes, or whatever lay behind that mask, boring into me. This became my new normal. Every day, without fail, he was there. Watching. Following. Never speaking. My friends thought I was overreacting. It's just some creep, they said. Call the cops. I did. They told me there wasn't much they could do unless he actually threatened me. Threatened me. As if the slow erosion of my sanity wasn't a threat enough. It wasn't just the walks to work anymore. He began appearing in places he shouldn't be. One night, as I was brushing my teeth, I glanced up at the bathroom mirror and froze. He was outside my window, standing motionless on the fire escape. I screamed, and by the time I gathered the courage to look again, he was gone. I couldn't sleep after that. Every creak of the floorboards, every rustle of the wind outside felt like him. I started keeping a knife under my pillow and sleeping with the lights on, though neither brought me any real comfort. One night, I woke up to the sound of footsteps. At first, I thought it was a dream. But then I saw him, standing at the foot of my bed. He didn't move. He didn't speak. The air grew thick, and I couldn't breathe. My throat locked up as I clutched the knife beneath my pillow. When I blinked, he was gone. That was the last straw. I packed a bag and drove to a motel on the edge of town. For the first time in weeks, I felt a shred of relief. But that night, as I pulled back the curtains to let in some moonlight, I saw him standing in the parking lot. His head tilted, just like always. Watching. I don't know how this will end. I don't know if it will end. But I do know one thing, no matter where I go, no matter how far I run, he'll always find me. Fear had become my constant companion, but something stronger started growing within me, anger. I refused to live like prey any longer. I needed to know who he was, why he was tormenting me. I had no idea where to start, but I wasn't going to let him win. The next morning, I left my apartment earlier than usual. He wasn't at the end of my street this time, but I knew he was watching. He always was. I kept walking, staying alert, my ears tuned to every sound. And then, I heard it, the soft crunch of footsteps behind me. I didn't look back. Not yet. Instead, I turned down a side street, deliberately heading for an area with fewer people. My heart pounded in my chest, and I gripped the pepper spray in my pocket. The footsteps followed. When I reached a narrow alley, I spun around. There he was, standing in the shadow of a building. The white mask gleamed eerily in the dim light, as if mocking me. "What do you want from me?" I shouted, my voice trembling but loud. "Why are you doing this?" He didn't answer. He tilted his head, the same infuriating gesture I'd seen so many times. I took a step toward him, and for the first time, he faltered. He took a step back, as if surprised by my boldness. That's when I saw it, he wasn't invincible. He could be caught. Fueled by adrenaline, I lunged toward him, spraying the pepper spray directly at his face. He staggered, clutching at his mask, and I screamed for help. A nearby store owner heard me and called the cops. By the time they arrived, he was still writhing on the ground, the mask half off his face. When they pulled the mask away, my blood ran cold. I recognized him. It was Daniel, a coworker from my office. We had exchanged polite greetings in the elevator, nothing more. But now, staring at his twisted expression, I saw the obsession in his eyes. The police arrested him on the spot. In his apartment, they found dozens of photos of me, walking to work, at my desk, even inside my home. He'd been watching me for months, planning every step of his sick game. When they asked him why he did it, his only response was a chilling smile. For a while, I couldn't sleep, couldn't shake the memory of his eyes behind that mask. But slowly, I began to reclaim my life. The walks to work became tolerable again. The shadows no longer seemed alive. Daniel was sentenced to prison, and though the memory of his presence will always haunt me, I found solace in knowing that he can no longer hurt me, or anyone else. I still keep the pepper spray in my pocket, though. Just in case. Like, subscribe and don't forget to hit the bell icon to never miss a scare.